Only 119 days until the NHL draft.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite tanking team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you want to be an everyday, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're doing it again, guys. Another third period where the Sharks have a lead, and another game where they end up losing, this time 4-3 to the Montreal Canadiens in overtime. So we'll talk about that game, talk about some missed calls. Of course, we'll talk about Will Smith and that second line cooking, and dig into the numbers of a game that the San Jose Sharks they played really well in this game and just got a little bit unlucky. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. And we did it again, guys. I'm honestly impressed the way that they continually do this. And the script writers, they keep going back to the same beats, yet they still keep it, they keep it fresh at the same time. As the Sharks lose 4-3 in overtime. First off, Cole Caulfield, that's a sick goal. And poor Macklin gets walked on that goal. And that's part of the growing experience of every kid and 18-year-old. And one day Macklin will be able to defend that. But Cole Caulfield, that was a sick goal, man. Hats off. Sometimes you just got to tip your hat. Like, that was a sick goal from Cole Caulfield. But this game, though, the Sharks outplayed the Canadiens for large chunks of this game. And we'll dig into the numbers more here in a minute. But like 30 or 35 to 21 scoring chances, 15 to 7 high danger chances. The Sharks at 5-on-5, 3.69 expected goals for. Like the shot attempts, like the Sharks outshot, like took more shot attempts. I know the Canadiens had more actual shots on goal. But like the Sharks controlled this game, and like we've seen from them basically all season, is whenever they get up a goal, right, they just can't get that next one. And that's exactly what happened tonight, right? They get up 1-0, Canadiens tie it. They get up 2-1, Canadiens tie it. They get up 3-2, Canadiens tie it. And then the Canadiens finally win it in overtime. That's okay, right? Eyes on the prize. Matthew Schaefer is going to be sick in teal next year, guys. Like, it's going to be so sick. But anyway, like, it's so frustrating because this week, granted, the Jets game, like the Jets pounded the Sharks statistically, and the Sharks got lucky to get away with a 2-1 loss in overtime in that game. But this whole week, right, you go back to the Flames game. Sharks outplayed the Flames for good chunks of that game. They lose 3-2. Sharks go toe-to-toe, we'll say, for chunks of the Jets game, right? They get outstanding goaltending from Vitek Vanacek. They lose 2-1 in overtime. The Sharks outplay the Canadiens tonight for good chunks of this game. Other than like the end of this, kind of the middle of the second period or first period, kind of second half of the first period, the Canadiens like play, like kind of were controlling things. But then from there on out, like it was mostly Sharks. And there was some horrible officiating tonight as well, which I try not to blame the officiating because usually it balances out. But when the ref watches someone hit you square between the numbers with your back turn, that is 100% a boarding call. Like you can't do that. The ref 2 feet away from Macklin Celebrini, he's got his back. He's up against the boards. He's got his back to the forward, and Dvorak square right between the 7 and the 1 hits him. Macklin goes down on the ice. Nothing. No call. Do the Sharks score on that power play? Maybe. Maybe not. The Canadiens had a great penalty kill. Maybe they don't score, but still, you're denied an opportunity, right? And then you look at the calls that the Canadiens got. Colin Graf, 100% trip. Like, that's a trip. Okay, fine. Shakir Mukhamadullin holding, Josh Anderson. Josh Anderson, noted small forward who's like 6'3" and 200 pounds. That's an embellishment. Like, yes, did Mukhamadullin hold him a little bit? Did Josh Anderson flop? Oh yeah, 100% drew that call as well. Did Nick Suzuki literally grab onto Macklin Celebrini's jersey in the first period and pull him back and kind of use him to like roller derby status? 100%. Just so, and again, I try not to get on here and complain about officiating because it gets really old quickly, and I hate doing it. But in a game that you lost 4-3 in overtime, and you don't get any power play opportunities while the other team gets 2, a little egregious. Like, a little egregious, and especially the Celebrini boarding one is the one that really bothers me because it was right in front of the ref. That's a call you have to make that call. One for player safety. Like, that's a player safety type of thing where, right, you don't want guys getting hit like that. I don't care if it's if it's Barclay Goodrow to Macklin Celebrini, anybody on the roster. Like, I don't want to see my players get hit like that. And I don't want to see my players hit other guys like that too, right? If Celebrini did that to someone, I'd be like, dude, that is not a play we want to see from him. Even if he doesn't get like that, is just not a play we want to see. So it was a very frustrating game because this game felt like we've seen so many times, right? Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. And the hope is next year, these losses start to turn into wins, right? And I think Brody the Sharks have played 60 games this year, and 31 of them have been decided by a goal. And tonight was another one. And they've lost a good chunk of those games, right? 3 this week alone, right? They've lost a good chunk of those games. And this is the hope is next year, these one goal loss games start to turn into 1 goal wins, right? And with Celebrini in year 2 and Will Smith in year 2, and we're going to talk a lot of Will Smith here in the second, because guys, Will Smith, he might be pretty good. So we're going to talk about that here in a second. But like Will Smith, you're going to have Askarov, right? You're like, you see the path to the Sharks next year. Like, a lot of these little things that they're just not quite there with. I think next year you're going to see a big jump because I think a lot of these one loss, not every of them, and you're still going to have 1 losses or 1 goal losses, but I think it's just going to start to even out next year. And if that starts to even out, then you go from being the worst team in the NHL to the 10th worst team, right? And that's the jump, right? That's the jump you want. That's how you start to enter the fun, frisky phases. You start to win these games. So super frustrating, though. Super frustrating. But again, Matthew Schaefer is going to look super sick in teal. So we're going to talk about Will Smith. We're going to talk about Alex Wennberg, the second line, how it's really, really playing really well. Wennberg might solve a little bit of a question for the Sharks, at least short term. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on the FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I hope you were listening to me when I said bet on Steph Curry, because Steph Curry does cool things. What does Steph Curry do tonight? He scored 56, including 12 3-pointers. So hopefully you made some money. If you did on FanDuel. You got paid instantly when you win. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, before we continue, we talk about Will Smith, Alex Wennberg, Fabian Zerlin. Do want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe as we're going to continue our draft coverage. We got 3 games in 4 days coming up here with game on Saturday and then games on Monday and Tuesday. So plenty of great stuff here at the Locked On Sharks. Again, wherever you get podcasts, of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right, the second line. Let's start with Will Smith, because Will Smith was absolutely fantastic tonight. Goal and an assist. The goal, an absolute rocket. Just like that's what Will Smith can do. The assist, very slippery assist. I've seen that play from William Macklin a bajillion times already, right? And Will Smith goes and does it as well tonight. But like, even with all those, you know what the most impressive thing I thought from Will Smith was tonight? In overtime. Like, his shift in overtime, like, checks a dude, knocks him away from the puck, gets the puck, kind of pokes it up to Celebrini, continues to help and pressure. And then, like, there's a little bit of a turnover. Will Smith goes and gets the puck again in the offensive zone and then drives to the net to try to make a play, like to try to score a goal. That is the development that we are seeing from Will Smith. And Will Smith's never going to be like a power forward. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Will Smith, that's not Will Smith's game. That's not what's going to make him a special player. But just the way he's been built, and you saw this at Boston College too, right? Remember, beginning after the Sharks drafted him, beginning of Boston College season, like a little slow, kind of getting out of the gates, and people were a little like, "Oh, did the Sharks make a bad pick here?" After 3 games in college, and then this year, right after the first month, "Oh, should Will Smith be playing in the AHL?" The dude's been like, you see it every game. And that was what we asked for, right? Can you see something? Can you flash something every game? And he's been flashing. Not only has he been flashing consistently, right? That consistency there. Huge night for Will Smith tonight. When he was on the ice, like, the Sharks were ridiculous. Like, he had a ridiculous night tonight. When he was on the ice, Will Smith led all the forwards, and didn't at 5-on-5 played less than 15 minutes. 15 to 12 shot attempts. Okay. Actual shots 7 to 6. Okay. 2 goals, had a goal. 1.29 to 0.29 expected goals for. 10 to 4 scoring chances, and 4 to nothing high danger chances when Will Smith was on the ice. And it's not all him, right? But that is what you want. Like, those are outstanding numbers. Outstanding numbers. Very much quality over quantity, right? Especially when it comes to like the shot attempts and stuff. And I think Will Smith, is much more of a patient player. But that line right now with Zetterlund, Wennberg, and Smith are cooking. Like they are cooking. And I think Wennberg, right, we had some questions, right? He's been playing on the 3C this most of the season with Granlund. After Granlund gets traded, he was injured. So we really didn't get a chance to look at how this line performed until after Four Nations break, right? Wennberg healthy now. And you're seeing some of the best hockey that Wennberg has played all season. Imagine that. Alex Wennberg, noted good hockey player, now playing with other noted good hockey players and Will Smith and Fabian Zetterlund. And that line's been producing. Wennberg was awesome again tonight. Yes, and very much glad that Macklin Celebrini was on the ice to start overtime. With Wennberg, cool. Macklin Celebrini should always start overtime. I don't care if Celebrini's got like a busted leg and he scored like 7 own goals or something like that. I don't care. Like Macklin Celebrini should start overtime every time, unless he's physically unable to get out there. Like then okay. But the good thing with Wennberg in this development here, right? And you think about like starting to kind of think ahead, right? With Wennberg, who's signed for this year, full no move clause, like he's not going anywhere. Is signed for next year as well. But if Wennberg can continue to perform like as a good 2C, it takes less pressure off the Sharks this offseason, right? Because we know the Sharks are going to have to sign some middle six forwards. And to really, because like that third line needs to be ripped apart and put back together with some better talent, right? You feel good about Colin Graff on the third line, but right, you need a legitimate middle six center, et cetera, et cetera. But if Wennberg can kind of hold down and not only hold down, but play well as your 2C, that's just kind of one less thing you have to check off, right? Because it's much easier to find a third line center than to find a second line center, right? And it's much easier to find a second line center than it is to find a first line center. So the hope is Wennberg in this line of Wennberg, Smith, and Zetterlund can kind of continue to perform well throughout the, this last 20, what are we at? 24, 22 game or whatever we're at, 22 games now, that they can perform well and kind of just be like, okay, this is going to be our second line going into next year, or at least like some sort of combination of this. And if you're able to upgrade on Wennberg, great, right? Because Wennberg's not going to be the long-term solution, right? And eventually you hope that that Will Smith can take that job from him, but you need some sort of bridge answer until Will Smith is ready to be a second line center in the NHL. And maybe Will Smith is never a center in the NHL. But you do need a short-term answer, like a bridge answer, right? And I think Alex Wennberg can be that guy right now. And then, next trade deadline, if the Sharks are bad again, okay, then you can trade him. And then maybe Will Smith gets a audition in the last 20 games of the season as a second-line center. And then you go into next offseason deciding, do I need to try to find another second-line center, or can Will Smith be my second-line center going forward? And then we just kind of check that box and we're done at Will Smith's a second-line center. So the hope is Wennberg in this line can continue to play well, because we've seen like the Eklund Celebrini Toffoli line has played really well. And tonight they did play really well. And I think they just got unlucky when it comes to the goal production. We'll dig into that a little bit more, but it's a really nice development that the Sharks can actually roll out 2 good lines, right, between the Wennberg line and the Celebrini line, and takes a little bit of pressure off the Celebrini line to have to do everything every night. Because recently it has been very much, if the Celebrini line isn't scoring, the Sharks aren't scoring. I know Will Smith has been scoring, but like it definitely feels like it has to be the Celebrini line to do everything. And it's good to see Wennberg, who's on a really modest contract at 2 years at $5 million. If he's your second line center this year, next year, and then you can decide, hey, do we want to maybe keep you longer, and then you become our third center? Like it just gives you more options and more flexibility, and you don't feel so pressured this offseason to go find like a legitimate second line center to help take pressure off and help put your younger players who are going to be coming up, right? Will Smith in year 2. You expect Quentin Musty to, play in the NHL here in the next year or so. Like you want these guys to be in a position to succeed. And if Wennberg can kind of be that next Mikhail Granlund for the Sharks, I think that's all we can ask right now. So we're going to dig into the numbers of the game. Look at how frustrating this game was because, again, the Sharks, they were really good in this game and just couldn't find that fourth goal. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. If you're like me, your mornings have to start with a good cup of coffee. If I got tired of settling for grocery store brands that just weren't cutting it, that's my turn to Trade. And let me tell you, this coffee is next level. Trade is the #1 specialty coffee marketplace in the U.S., bringing you fresh coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Your experts have taste tested thousands of coffees, curating over 450 amazing roasts. Whether you're new to coffee or know exactly what you like, they've handpicked the perfect match for you. The first bag was a game changer. It's such a smooth, rich flavor, and I can actually taste the difference from my usual coffee. Subscription makes it easy. No more last-minute grocery store runs or settling on whatever's left on the shelf. If you don't love your first bag, no worries. Trade will replace it for free until they get it just right. Right now, new Trade is exclusively offering our listeners 40% off your first order at drinktrade.com/LockedOnNHL. That's drinktrade, TRADE.com/LockedOnNHL for 40% off your first order. drinktrade.com/LockedOnNHL. All right, before we finish up digging into the numbers of this game, of course, do want to thank you guys for making the Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to go check out one of the other great shows here at the Locked On Network as soon as you're done with this one. You have Locked On NHL, where I'm on every Tuesday. I know Thursday's episode, Nick, I know the boys, Nick and Hunter talked about Macklin Celebrini and talked about the Sharks. So you can go check out that from Locked On NHL. Or check out any of the shows here in the Bay Area. Locked On Niners, Locked On Warriors. I'm sure they'll have fun with Seth Curry's big game. Locked On Giants, Locked On A's. Plenty of great stuff here at the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. Okay, the numbers behind this game. And again, super frustrating. 56 minutes of 5-on-5 time. 62 to 48 shot attempts in favor of the Sharks. 56.36 Corsi for to 43.64%. Actual shots at 5-on-5 was 26 to 23 in favor of the Canadiens. 35 to 21 scoring chances, 15 to 7 high danger chances, and 3.69 to 2.04 expected goals in favor of the Sharks. Like, very much quality, especially the first period. Like, yes, the Canadiens played better in the second half and they had more shot attempts and kind of controlled pace, but the Sharks had 1.88 expected goals for in the first period. And they scored 2 goals. 1.17 expected goals in the second period. And then the third period, while the Sharks controlled a little bit more of the pace of play, the Canadiens kind of got a little bit more of the quality chances. But still, like, this is what you want to see. And even the third period, like, it's a tie game. You outshoot, like, more shot attempts at 5-on-5, 23 to 15 in favor of the Sharks. And yes, like, the Canadiens had 4 to 3 high danger chances. The Sharks had 10 to 7 scoring chances. Like, the Sharks played really well in this game and just weren't able to finish. And that's like what I talked about in the first period, or in the first segment, right? The first period. What I talked about in the first segment, you're going to start to see this stuff flip next year. Like, I truly believe, like, what you're seeing now and all these close losses, they're going to start to become close wins. And games like today, super frustrating. But yeah, I think it will eventually turn. As for the forward lines, so we had At least when it came to time on ice, 5-on-5. Macklin Celebrini fully played 16-22, 20-8 shot attempts. 20-8 shot attempts at 5-on-5, like just 5-on-5. 6-5 actual shots, did give up a goal. 0.85 to 0.33 expected goals for tonight. 12-5 scoring chances, 2-1 high danger chances. Just ridiculous. Like this line should have had I think this line should have had a goal tonight. Like they deserve to have a goal the way they played tonight. Zetterlund, Wennberg, Smith played next at 13-18, 11-12 shot attempts, 6-6 actual shots, had 2 goals, gave up a goal as well. 1.16 to 0.26 expected goals for, 8-4 scoring chances, 4-0 high danger chances for that line. Cunnin, Delanger, Goodrow, 10-27, 13-10 shot attempts, 4-7 actual shots, 0.75 to 0.54 expected goals for, 6-5 scoring chances, 4-2 high danger chance. Like, okay. Like when I saw the Cunnin Goodrow, I tweeted out the 1,000-yard military, like army guy stare, because I was fully expecting that tonight. But again, like this, just the Sharks, everything was kind of working for them tonight, except for scoring goals or more goals. So Costin, Sturm, Colin Graff, 640, 6-10 shot attempts, 2-6 extra shots, had a goal, gave up a goal, 0.53 to 0.67 expected goals for, 4-5 scoring chances, 3-3 high danger chances. Colin Graff had really nice play tonight on the Nico Sturm goal, like just dang, like you're seeing more and more. And they did ask him to kind of focus on, can you get that offense going for us a little bit more and not be as hesitant, I think, in the offensive zone. And he was like, beautiful play. Nico Sturm, very hard-nosed goal, etc. Like great, beautiful goal. You're going to take that. The trip definitely was a trip. Gave that third goal, loses his man there. Like, a little bit up and down, but still, like, I think if Colin Grass played in third line next year, like you're going to feel really good about where they're going. So, Costin was okay. Again, right now you're just kind of cycling between Costin and Grunstrom and Delandria, as right now, unfortunately. So, it is what it is. Defensively, Henry Threaten did leave this game. He left it, came back for a little bit, and then left again. No update, of course, as we won't get an update. So we'll see. Jack Thompson was a healthy scratch tonight as Liljegren came back. So if Thread's not able to go, assume that Thompson will get back in. And we'll know more by Saturday when the Sharks play the Sens. So the defensive pairings are a little bit funky tonight, though, because of that. Wallman, I thought, was a little bit up and down as well. Bad decision where he just kind of gives Celebrini a grenade that turns into a turnover, which turns into a Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki 2-on-1, which then turns into a goal. Poor Henry Thrawn, not really a chance on anything there. Vlasic Liljegren, and for our Mukma pairing, like tonight, not too bad, especially when it came to like the expected goals. Shot attempts, they kind of controlled the pace with 10-7. I thought Mukma was really good tonight. His very much kind of up and over the out for the Will Smith goal, but that was him. That was a like get the puck, and I think he saw Will Smith kind of starting to leak out a little bit. Mukma Dolan, a couple of assists here in the last couple games here, so we love to see that from Mukma Dolan. And again, I can't believe Mukma Dolan pulled down noted tiny forward Josh Anderson. Just how could he? So Vlasic Liljegren was okay. Good for Vlasic playing at home, in Montreal at home. So, but yeah, I think Wallman, some questionable decisions from Jake Wallman tonight. As for Alexander Georgiev, the second goal, I don't know. It looked like he got like lost on that goal there. Like he very much, I don't know if he tripped, he like got lost or something. The second Suzuki goal, just I don't know but not counting that one, I think he played okay tonight. And the numbers kind of back that up. 29 to 33 saves, 4 goals against, expected goals against in all situations, 2.82, 879 save percentage, 379 goals against, 6 high danger saves on 8 shots, 9 of 11 mid danger, and 14 of 14 low danger. So the Sharks did a really good job of kind of keeping things away from Georgiev and, kind of having, like, there wasn't a lot of Montreal just kind of parked in the crease shooting, which is good to see. And I thought Georgiev played pretty solid, except for that second goal. He definitely, I think, would like a redo on just his whole operation there, because it looked like he was coming out to check somebody, or I don't know what he was doing there, man. But anyway, that was a frustrating one. So we'll be back. We'll probably be back Saturday night, to be honest, especially with 3 games in 4 days. So we might have some extra episodes coming up. So probably an episode Saturday night. We'll probably have something different on Sunday. We'll kind of keep up with any of the trade deadline news. If there's any trades and stuff like that, of course, we'll got those covered for you here at Locked On Sharks. What'll probably happen, if I'm at work, you'll probably get a short, and then you'll probably get like a full episode when I get home from work. If it's the weekend, we'll fire it up and figure things out. So make sure you follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until Saturday night. Bye, friends.